This conference will now be recorded.
Well, you need one more for a quorum? No.
Sam Neighbors is coming.
What about Richard? Does anybody know?
I haven't heard from Richard. There's Richard.
There he is.
Oh, here we go.
And,
Oh, Richard. Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, 6 feet apart. And I'll tell you what, split up that. You have it.
As long as you're wearing a mask,
You
you're.
have a microphone.
It's right there.
Here you go. And we have Pam Capps on the phone or on the computer. So it's 5:30 whenever everybody's ready. Do we want to start? You ready? Okay, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order at 5:31.
Give me 1 minute.
So this meeting is being recorded for the sole purpose of the minutes. Please take note that if you choose to make a motion, state your full name for the record. Our HPO has been taking minutes temporarily due to lack of a secretary, and sometimes it's been hard to tell who's talking. So let's make sure that we know who's talking for the recording. So roll call. We have Pam Capps on the phone.
Hello.
And we have Hollis. Vote right. Roxanne Sorrell, Richard Standifer, and we have our HPO, Rudy Nino. So we do have a quorum, correct? And guest, right?
Yes.
Okay. So did we have public comment though, right now for our agenda at the beginning of the meeting, or Retta, are you going to be speaking later?
Yeah.
I think we're going to do that later, right? We're going to vote first. Is that correct?
You want to vote now?
Well, we're lacking Ms. Neighbors, and we cannot vote on anything till we hear.
I just talked to her. Let me text her real quick.
Okay.
She said she was getting on.
Get a copy of it, Jim. With you.
I have a hard copy.
And we'll go over this second.
I can pull it up on my computer too.
I'll address my issue at the end.
At the end?
Question.
Okay.
Wayne, how long is your presentation?
How long will it take? 3, 2, 5 minutes?
Let's get 5?
Probably 10.
Could you stay till later then? We have some members that have to vote on stuff and leave.
Okay,
And then-
I figured it.
Okay.
Okay, Pam Neighbors is coming. Maybe she's having a little trouble signing in, but she's getting ready to do it, or she's doing it.
Okay. You want to go to number 2 then?
On our new business?
Yeah.
Okay, well, open the floor for name recommendations for new commissioners. Is that, So we'll open the floor for name recommendations for 2 new commissioners as required per UDC 4 bylaws. The commission shall consist of 6 members to be appointed from the residents in the city of Blanco and its extraterritorial jurisdiction by the city council. Up to 2 members may live outside the ETJ, but inside the Blanco Independent School District. And Rudy, you had some people that you thought might be interested. Did you want to?
Yeah, I
Talk about that?
gave you, Smitty, his wife,
Sherry Stoddard?
and I don't know her, only him. I think you know him too. She's interested.
Okay.
And then, Wayne Gosnell had recommended several names. Richard, do you have any? Hollis?
Well, Retta said that if we needed her, that she would get back on, as just a member.
Pam, do you have anyone in mind?
For what?
For new commissioners?
No.
Okay, so what we can do now then is just put all those names together and at the next meeting, we'll vote,
Okay.
okay?
So we'll ask them all to fill out the application, right?
Yeah.
And have that on hand? Okay.
Because Smitty's wife is very interested.
Okay.
Sure. One thing,
Okay.
and we'll move this, let's table this.
Okay.
We need to verify each one of the names that you have to make sure that you have the right count and the right mix. In other words, you only have 2 that are outside the city limits, but within the school district. Sherry is outside the city limits.
Right.
So-
And are we all inside?
I
I am. Okay. Just making sure that none of us.
We need the ones that vote
Uh-huh.
to qualify.
Okay.
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 All his votes.
I thought the chairman. Thought the chairman.
I don't think the chair can. I think
No,
that's.
no, 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 I'm talking about the other ones.
Yeah, six need to vote.
Right. Okay.
Minimum 4. We're right at the 4. But when one misses, we meet as a committee. Okay, we can table this. So
Okay.
just be thinking about this, and we do have,
Who's the other one was like Sherry? Didn't we have another one? Was there another name mentioned? No? Just Sherry and Retta?
Sherry and Retta. And then I know,
Have some too. I might say Wayne has some.
yeah, you had quite a few, you had a long, good list. You emailed it to me, I can forward to you.
you sent it to me, but I saw them.
We just need to follow them, okay?
Okay.
Rudy, you also need 3 advisors/historians, and these are people who are old timers in Blanco who know the history, because I'm going, so Wayne, 2 more, because Wayne's still on. Advisor historian.
Is anybody interested in that you know of?
No, but I can, check on it.
Okay.
It's great. It's been hard to get them, and it's very important that we are very respectful for the ones that come and our advisor historians. We know in history, but we also, help advise too on that.
Let's go to number 2.
All right. Number 3, under new business, first virtual National Preservation Conference, October 27th through 30th of this year. So this registration is open. We need to register before October 7th. So that's Wednesday of next week, I believe,
Oh, the best rate.
for the best rate. Okay.
So the last time Paula went to the training online, I did and you did,
mhm.
we need Richard and the 2 Pams.
Okay.
Then, do we have any money in the current budget to even consider this?
Good question.
It depends.
Huh?
It depends on whether or not, whether or not the Manning has been paid for the sign and paint.
Yes.
He has been.
Yes, in fact.
I doubt there's anything.
Okay, so If it was me,
That's just on my thinking, I'm not 100%.
no, that's good, that's good.
Sure.
Chair lady, if it was me, and I've done it before, pay on pocket with a promissory to get paid back if I really want to attend it. Okay?
Okay, so anybody that wants to attend it, is it possible to apply for reimbursement through the city or for the
Yes,
education?
but I'd rather you give me the names of who wants to attend, and let's, get with the city secretary and do it off the, city secretary, the city's card, so we keep a better record that way. And, it's just easier.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Well, can I ask a question? Will, when does our new budget go into effect? Is it October 1?
October 1,
So we have money.
you will have money
Yes.
oh,
Start training.
October 1.
So you would take a vote now who wants to do this online?
Based on the items that you submitted for your budget.
okay. So if this would be out of the next fiscal year's education budget.
Right, which begins October.
Okay, so who actually will go? Richard, can you do this?
27, 28, 29, 30, 4 days.
It's all day.
I don't believe it's all day. You can go to the website, take a look.
Yeah, I can't commit until I know exactly.
I sent this information over a month ago. Did you ever follow up?
Probably not.
Will you let us know in the next week so that we can let Lori know if whether or not you'll be on the list?
I'll try to find.
And then Pat, Ms. Caps, do you think you might be able to attend this conference online?
I'm not sure.
Okay, will you let us know in the next week?
Yes, we'll do so.
Thank you.
You're
And we-
welcome.
No more pet neighbors. I don't think she has.
I'm still trying to get her on. I'm sending her something right now.
And that's, we're not voting right now. But one of the commitments of commissioners, once you get training, we lose the status if we continue, if that happens like another one. Okay.
All right, should we go on to number 4? Review the Blanco Historic Preservation
No.
Action Plan, no?
That's one that we don't vote, so we'll put that at the.
All right.
Along with 12.
No, we don't have a quorum yet.
Well, I'm trying to get her in. Hold on.
But the rest is not voting. Go ahead and.
You do have.
It's about 4.
Neighbors is on.
We don't have.
I can't vote. I can't vote.
Ms. Neighbors, are you in?
She's trying to get in.
Okay, well, you can still do a business. That's no voting.
All right. So gateways update. So the first signs have been paid for. Is that correct? I think-
I've asked the city finance director, I picked up the plywood for the signs today.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And I have to do some work on it, prepare them a little bit before I can take them to Andrew Manning. I asked, both Andrew Manning and the city finance officer to let me know when that was paid, but I haven't.
For
The design and the painting.
yes, I signed off on that last week. I signed off on the invoice. Now, as she paid, she should be in the checks either last week or in today's checks.
I see. So,
But I did sign off on the, invoice for it last week.
okay, well, I know that Andrew had told me that the city had requested a W-9, so he was expecting.
Yeah, as long as he sent that in, they won't release the check until we get that. So he has sent that in.
So hopefully as soon as,
But I did sign on the invoice last week, I think, Tuesday actually. Because I was trying to get every bill I can close out this year.
So what I'll do in the minute for this one here is that they've been paid. Most of the plywood, he picked it up and the design.
well, we don't know that it's been
It's
approved.
it's going to
It's in the
get paid.
system, it's in the system, they'll be paid in this before the 31st.
My report won't be for 30 days from now anyway. So now you could move to number 2. Hold this one.
2021 budget updates. So we went over the budget last meeting, but we did not have a quorum. And I know Will got a proposed budget, but I don't know what we get.
I have the same amount of money in that you had last year, which is 3,500. How it's broken down is different. Now, for the signs, we'll discuss it at the council's October meeting to put that into, take that out of top funds to pay for that. So those, and the other things that you had, that if they meet heads in beds, we use hot funds for it. So essentially, they're capital expenditures as opposed to operating budget. Your operating budget is your training and your expenses, normal expenses. All that stayed the same. At 3,500 was a technical. I don't think y'all gave an itemized list that's up to that. It's up to 3,500. I think it was less than that. But I carried over the same budget number as last year.
Okay. So on to number 3 under old business. I have a resignation letter from Mary Harris that she actually gave us some time ago, but we will read it into the minutes. Friday, August 14th, 12:53 p.m. to Rudy. Dear Rudy, the purpose of this letter is to submit my formal resignation from the Blanco Historic Preservation Commission. I sincerely wish the best for the commission in its future endeavors. I still need to hand off the manuals and keys to whomever the commission delegates. Since I have just had significant eye surgery, it will probably be next week before I am available. Please have the appropriate person contact me. With regards, Mary Harris. And I met with Mary today, and I have her binders with her minutes and her key to the storage closet.
There's a question that I need to ask Will regarding that. Something about keys. Can you update us? There, change it? Nothing's changed. Just let us in, we lock out, that kind of stuff. So we don't get a key ever to come in. The office will let us in,
Right, to the building.
and then we walk out.
Okay,
Just lock the door behind you, go out the side door and lock the side door.
okay,
And if we turn on the lights, we turn off the lights. That kind of
Okay.
stuff. Like we're at home.
okay. All right. Oh, do we have Pam Neighbors now?
Yes, here.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so if we wanted to move to things this is the action items that we would need to go through with the quorum?
Let's go to number 4.
Number 4 under old business.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And then we'll go through everything and get home.
Update 4 banners in square. That's you.
Finally, this thing came in after 2 or 3 months. And when H designed received these last week, they were the wrong size, so she had to return them. But these are the actual size, goes all the way around the pole, utility poles out there. I have a contact name with the operation. Each thing takes 5 days in advance notice, whoever come out here, they'll bring the lift up. We'll do the 4 poles, hang them. When we met, it was a 3 month extension. It's cutting into, it'll be October 1st, October, November, December. So it's not going to kind of work. Call it, when do the seasonal lights go up? The Christmas lights on the utility poles?
I think they go up around Thanksgiving.
In October, we started in October,
So
putting them up.
I don't think they're going to, what hits?
I'll both on there.
It's like a conflict, right? They might need a pole for, so I'm bringing that to you guys, what do y'all want to do about that? So to skip this year with you, maybe? What's that?
It shouldn't interfere with the light.
Okay.
Are these existing banners?
Yeah. Oh, you weren't here.
Nope. Well, I mean, I was in town, but.
Only one, we have 4 banners.
Okay,
Only one's been hung at the old 300. We picked a 12 front of the city hall, the inn, the one by the 3rd Street, the one by the bank, all 300. But does anyone remember their lights there, Retta?
There's supposed to be an entryway to the district, not up here on the square, not at the courthouse.
That's the only place they would put them for now. Then we don't put them up if you say no, but they voted to hang them wherever PEC would say.
Nathan had put one at the old 300 at one time and fell down. That's the only one. They were supposed to be at Remax, coming in from Stonewall at Renee's, at my house at the beginning, but, and coming this way on the, Kristen, Sandy's building.
What we might have to do is just cancel the whole thing because PEC did say on what else to do. We spent an early morning here, the gentleman, Mr. Daniel, and he wrote down the utility post numbers and stuff there. All the office, they looked into it, looked at the other posts, and they said you can do those. We can go back and request to go outside that. What the rest is talking about.
That's where they're all this stuff.
Were they ever hung there
It
before?
was just an entrance to the historic district.
We understand that. Were they hung there before?
They weren't,
No.
he didn't hang them, no.
Maybe that's why there's not a record. That's probably why they did not have a record. Okay, it's up to you guys that voted. That's my update.
Well, I think we should wait till after the Christmas holidays, because they do put, lights on all the poles around the square.
I think so.
That might be a conflict with the banners and the lights.
Yeah, because it's a promotion, and with a light, that's a promotion. So it's not like we're neglecting something.
It's not promoting a specific event, is it? Is it
Just the
just, it's just letting people know that they're in the historic district?
You know, people are about, oh, what's this? Oh, that's a historic district, it's going to take the social down.
Okay,
So, like she's saying, but it's up to them. Maybe we should wait in May, next year, it's the National Preservation Month. That would be a good time, May, June, July.
Well, I
But
think
somebody has to
we wait till next year.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, let me write that.
I second.
Who was that?
Pamela Caps.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Well,
any discussion? All right, can we vote? Oh, Retta, did you have a,
Number 4 on here for the update of the action plan.
yes,
We're coming back.
we're coming back to that. So are we, members, you're voting on the delaying, putting up the banners until
till May of next year.
May.
Do a motion, you have a second. All in favor?
I
Passed, sounds like it was passed by all 4 voters.
yes.
We can move on.
Okay, so do we want to go to new business or do we want to go to action items?
How's timing coming along, Pam, neighbors?
Excuse me?
How's the timing? Are we doing good or do we need to move on?
We're good. No, we're fine.
We're voting on everything. Do we have any other things to vote on?
Do we have any other items to vote on? Is that going to be our action items and possible motions to approve? Because we'll still need to come back to new business and have our advisors.
You have to vote on the minutes,
Okay,
open floor for secretary, establish committees. The HPO report, there's someone there that wants to make a motion, but the minutes hasn't been approved for several months now.
okay, so we'll move to action items and we will get back to new business after that once we have all of our votes. So item number 1, we've got minutes from the May 4th special meeting. We'll do these one at a time, correct? Or do we want to do them all at the same time?
Do them all.
Okay, so we have our minutes from May 4th special meeting. June 8th, 2020 special meeting, and July 27th, 2020 meeting. August 31st, no meeting due to a lack of quorum. So, anybody want a motion to approve these minutes?
I make a motion to approve the May 4th special meeting, the June 8th special meeting, and the July 27th, 2020 regular meeting.
I second the motion, Richard Stanford.
Okay, well, let's have our vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we've got 4 passes.
What's new?
All right, item number 2, open the floor for an election of the next BHPC secretary by the chair. We don't have any candidates right this second.
Well, you vote within the 4 that are commissioners that are voting. Someone has to be a permanent, someone has to be a permanent secretary.
Anybody want to be the secretary? You're already co-chair, correct? Cricket?
Neighbor or Pam?
No.
Nominate one.
How about you, Kat? Ms. Kat?
No, there's no way I can do it right now because I'm taking care of my mom in Austin and I have to go there 2 and 3 times a week and it's just, it's a bear.
So what takes place then now? I'll continue doing it until you get new members, commissioners, with the intent to make one of them secretary.
Okay,
That's all I can remember.
so we've got to table this
It's
and you're
tabled
in,
now.
okay. Okay,
When you table it in the minutes, make sure you table it to a specific date. Meaning-
okay, so we'll table it to our October meeting, correct?
That's the last Monday of the month.
Yes, the last Monday of the month, which is going to, was that my phone? Sorry. That's going to be October 26th. Okay, establish a new committee for search of grants, inventory and surveys, and exact locations for future gateways. Note, no more than 2 commissioners are allowed in the same committee per Texas rules. So this is to establish a new gateways committee.
A variety of committees.
Okay, oh, well, okay, so one would be a grants committee, an inventory and surveys committee, and a gateways committee?
Because Richard could, and I'm just talking to you, he could take on the gateways, continue going with it if he wants to. As far as grants, I have someone who will, he was a good one, but we don't have anyone working with grants. And if someone would be just doing nothing but grants, then I could answer him, or the city could say, we got 10,000, get 10,000 there. But if we don't, if we're not investigating the stuff, it's not gonna help, like, but we don't.
Yeah, we need to find somebody like Ann. She used to write grants.
Yeah.
She left. So maybe one of the new members, I mean, maybe they have some experience with grants. I've never had.
Yeah, and I can certainly help somebody, but I don't have actual experience with grant writing. I could help with research aspect and gathering materials, but
So
I don't, go ahead.
Does the person who actually writes the grant have to be on the committee?
No.
Because my sister was a editor for the Texas Legislature, the Texas Legislative Council. When she retired, we've been talking about grants at this time, and she said, well, she might be available to help with that sort of thing. She was a researcher and an editor. She's
Oh, wow, that
and
was
worked
great.
at the Texas Historical Association for many years also.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
She could be a consultant for somebody else in the committee.
That
somebody will tell us whether they be, you can have a committee of up to 3 non-voting members. They're not living the city limits, they have no vote. But, so she could be one, if there was another, person that, for example, you're one coming back to represent and speak on their behalf at the meetings. She's actually doing the grant work, and there could be another person that just does the topic, however you want to do that.
Well, to be totally honest, I haven't discussed this with her in at least a year.
Go
So,
ahead and nominate her.
but I think she would be very good at it, I believe. If she
I think that
could talk.
At the very least, a consultant would be nice. And if you find one other person that would help,
She might know.
That's true.
I can help with the grant committee. I'll need help though. Okay, so I can do that.
What is this inventory and surveys? I don't know what that means. What are you?
Is that our historical surveys? Is that,
Let's let Glenn answer that.
That's what's up at the library, inventory survey.
okay,
One of the first things we were to do in the action plan, and we did that, when the comprehensive master plan. So that's what those books are, I was telling you about. It needs to be updated.
Definitely.
Really, it's way past you of being updated.
Every 10 years, right?
Well, it should be every 10 years.
That's what that is.
It's
Okay.
like,
You know what? I don't understand. What all is it? Is it just the buildings in?
the structures, and it can be more, it can be trees, and it can be things like that, walls and things like
The
that.
entire city.
What we did,
The entire city?
when we did ours, we did only the buildings and structures, but we need to include others, like the walls.
Okay, when you update it, do you just, like, if it's a new structure or?
No, historic structure, and what you do is you work with the historic commission, they have the department, they have all the, what you use and how you do it and everything to help us with it. So whoever wants to do it, we really need to get it
I
done.
could probably work on that some.
The only thing in Hollis, when we did this, we went and we made pictures of everything, so we were out a lot, on the streets. But it doesn't have to be that way because we've already got the 250 already in there, 240 or 50s in there right now. All we need to do is add 2, like the forestry, we need to put forestry in that. We need to put the rock wall in it. So it's starting and then it goes into all the information on it goes into that survey to where anybody can open it to it.
Okay, well, I can get with you and you can kind of show me, if I can see what you're talking about.
To the library.
So all of
Look at
But is the library even open?
anything, I think so.
I can't tell. I keep walking by it and there's cars, but I
It's
can't.
very limited now.
It's in the, genealogy.
Yeah.
But we're not digital, this isn't digital, we need to get it made on digital.
Yeah.
Hollis,
I don't know
I can
how
help
to
you.
do that.
I can help you with that.
Put it digital? Do it digital? She said we need to do
No,
it
he's
digital.
all around. You tell him what to do.
Okay.
You could do is call that department, and
Yeah.
the department head help us, because that's who helps us forward, they give you everything.
Hollis, like some time back, and I said, how many windmills are they in the city limits? I counted 5. That's interesting, you know?
Yeah.
There's one here. They're spread out. We just,
And there's a lot of rock walls and there's a lot of those old water tanks,
all that.
a bunch of wells.
Remember when we were gonna do the rock walls and it never got done? We were gonna
Well,
do all of them.
Yeah,
That's what it would be.
in the portraits of Blanco, I put a section of rock walls, water tanks, old wells within the city that I found.
Can we go ahead and move on?
The best thing you can do is connect with our people in Austin,
Okay.
and let that department help us.
Is this the comprehensive master plan we're talking about? Is this the comprehensive master plan?
That I have here?
No, they were talking about.
No, this is the survey and inventory.
Okay,
But we did it when we were
Just
doing
let them
the
know.
comprehensive master plan, but it was required by the historic,
So Hollis, you're gonna be willing to help with
Yeah,
that
the
project?
inventory survey.
Okay,
Put me on that committee.
okay. Rudy and Hollis. And then Retta knows where to find that information. And then the gateways, Richard, were you gonna continue to work on the gateways?
Yeah.
Okay, do we need to do any voting on this or,
No.
okay. All right, so new business?
That they feel-
Okay, you don't want to move back to,
You need to ask Pam, perhaps if she needs to legally lose her.
okay.
There's some voting taking place.
Oh, for the report. All right, so our HPR report, Rudy, you have you want to talk about enforcement letters first?
Okay, I emailed a copy to everyone. All the commissioners got one. Will did not. I'll give you a copy of this. I'll give you all 45 seconds to review it. Just review it real quickly.
I didn't print one.
Either or.
Well,
There's two different.
either or, if you want to do that. I'll let my kids read it. One of the things that I read, when there's a violation taking place, I'll discuss the letter with, you can go in and hit them on it, there's no, I don't feel there's a need to do that, okay? They're in violation already. And then we state what the violation is and how to remedy that violation. And it's best to give them the application in the COA, that's what's lacking. And then you give them your phone number, email address, who's doing this kind of stuff, so it's all there. And if they don't follow through, should we go sack them, jerk letter? I guess it depends. Most of the guys here in town we've talked to that are, I don't believe that anybody's doing intentionally, but they need to be told. Okay.
Okay, what kind of violations are we talking about?
Well, let's start with the Texas Regional Bank, and, Wade Osmo now, we talked about that. The lights look like you're in the baseball field instead of friendly style, night ones. And they're square boxes, they don't have that historic look. You go to Uptown's parking lot in the back neighborhood, and they have this big jumbo pointed down historic looking lights. And I believe Will or Wayne talked to someone at the bank and they said, I'll let him take over. That's just one example.
They're working to rectify the problem, but how it happened is either here or there. I think they had 3 different contractors run the job. People weren't getting things done for whatever reason. Somehow, what they had originally approved to go in did not get put in, and they're working with the electricians to come up with a solution to solve that problem. That one, the way I look at that, you asked how do we proceed after the first letter. The way I deal with other violations around is I generally try to get in contact with the people first. I try to talk to them, get them on the phone, catch them at their house, whatever the case may be, to talk to them about a violation first. If I cannot get a hold of them for whatever reason, whether it be that we just have different hours or they're avoiding, whatever the case is, then I send a certified letter. The letter has to be certified or it really doesn't.
Can't hold water.
So I send the certified letter. If I do not, I continue to try to get in touch with them. If I do not get any resolution from it, They'll be getting a second violation letter with a 10-day from date of receipt, which is normally 2 days in the mail, 10 days after that, so 12 days. A violation, a fine will be assessed at that point. Then it becomes a process of the courts. I'm no longer involved in it, and they have their opportunity. But the very good notes in between to let them know that we made every attempt to work with you. So when you talk about the bank, I wouldn't send them a letter because they are making an attempt to rectify the problem. So if there's somebody here on the corner who absolutely refuses and just says, F you, I will do what I want to do, then you've got to make those next steps. If they refuse to talk to you, they need a letter first. If they still refuse to talk to you, then they need a follow-up letter with a fine amount associated and a drop dead date. And then it becomes an issue we file. Fine. So I would say probably the second letter, any letters that get sent out, I need to be copied by email.
Yeah, you will.
So that I know who, when, the date. And then the second letter should probably come from me. And then at that point, if we're not getting any results out of them because they refuse to try to rectify the problem, then we'll get the court involved. But as long as they'll communicate with us and they'll make an attempt, and I'm perfectly okay with somebody that says, I just flat out ain't got the money. Okay, I'm gonna work with you. I'll find ways to do that. There's times when we go and do things for other people just because it's better for the city and it's better for them too, because they really don't know where they have there either. So that's just part of the process. I don't want to go out and be heavy-handed with it. So anything that's going to get me involved in the second letter, I want to make sure that we've done every step in the process first.
Well, why are we, aren't you the code officer or are you head of that
It's
department?
one of my jobs, but you have a historical commission officer. What do you call it?
HEO.
It's
Okay,
our preservation officer.
Right. So that should be the first.
okay.
That should be the first attempt. And even if the first attempt is just to try to talk to them.
Did that answer your question about you with us?
Yeah, that's what we did with the freezers. We asked them for a plan. They wrote a plan and gave it to us and we put it in the file. And then you can keep up if they follow their plan. Of course, sometimes it gets away from you, you have to check on it. But that's the best thing to do after, if the commission doesn't do the first letter and you do.
No, the
And-
commission needs to do the first.
Yeah,
I don't need to get
that's
involved.
what we did.
Yeah, I don't need to get involved until y'all can't get what you want. If y'all want to get cooperation, then let me be the big
They
asshole.
can answer that first letter and then they come back in and say, we don't have the money and, because you're giving them what needs to be done.
Right.
And so they can say, we can't afford this or we can't afford it, and maybe we'll do it in 6 months. You have that letter in your file and you can follow up on it.
Yeah, and
then you
again,
get it. You
if
get it.
they need time, let's give them time to work with them as long as it's reasonable.
I think we need to, work with people. I don't think we need to just be sending letters out and, you've done
Well, I
this,
tried
and
that.
you're gonna be fined this if you don't change this.
Just because you didn't get results when you tried it doesn't mean it's the wrong thing to do. We gotta still do it, and I can promise you, the perception is that if I go in first,
Yeah, we shouldn't.
it's bad on y'all because they look like, oh, well, there's tell us. Don't do that.
I could handle,
We come to you as the last.
Yeah,
And then, let me tell you what, this came up before, is that there's nothing in the ordinance unless it's changed that gives an amount of a fine, and that needs to be
That's
identified.
why it comes to me, because in the city code enforcement portion, I have up to $2,000.
Okay, should it be in our 4.4 or 4.11?
It could, but it doesn't have to, because in the code enforcement side of it, it does not specify, it does not specify an ordinance, it just says enforcement. So because of that, I checked with the attorney on that too, because some of the past ordinances, like jump says 2,000, or this, it says nothing.
I just thought I'd throw that in. One thing, Hollis, remember, everything almost except the bank is used since I've been gone. We did work with them. We always worked with them. But personally, we would even call on them.
And they had good intentions going into it.
But most of the things we work on never got done anyway, even though we're good at them and we called on them and we tried to get them.
What bank are you talking about?
They still not done.
Right, are you talking about Texas?
Texas Regional,
No, the bank is a new one. That's a fact.
which one are you talking
I'm talking about, okay, this one down here, the Strickland's is not right.
Oh, I think you said that.
And, that went around.
about? Okay,
And they even put a new sign up there.
Brett, I've already talked to them. I had a meeting with them.
This has gone on for 2 years, 3 years.
Then what happened before I was here for 2 years?
You know, that's still here.
Okay.
Ready to go.
But I just met with them like 2 months ago. Huh?
They had a new sign made after they had been told to straighten that out. It's not just them, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's
You know, I might have the porch out here. Porch is, this is terrible out here.
I'm not.
That's cities.
And then,
Yeah. But
Okay.
we need to go to the city, you need to do the porch, and then if you don't do the porch, we need to do
Okay,
the.
Brett, we need to move on because we're gonna lose the voting. Here are the letters. Obviously, y'all get more time, take a look, but the longer we take, I don't send anything else.
Well, are we gonna,
Are you, over,
permission, are we gonna vote on, or are you just gonna send them out, or how are we gonna?
All I want from you guys to say that looks good, or we want it stronger. I don't want to make it stronger. I want to work with them.
okay, and these are the letters to specific,
The top
People
one is
or-
the main one.
it's just sample list for who it needs to go to.
I don't want to be presumptuous and do everything I'm on. I want you guys to be on top of everything.
Well, that's what I'm asking, will we vote on
Everything.
you sending a letter out to these people?
You can, I can, bring it at the following meeting. Okay, or I can bring like a list of all the ones that need. I'll give you an example, the corner building, dirt. They have all this signage, I talked to him, she says, oh, you're gonna get a seal with. But that was, what, 2.5 months ago, and they're open on Sundays when no one's here. And I don't know, do they have a certificate of occupancy there too?
Yes, they do.
They do, okay, but
But that came, the certificate of occupancy was part of the original permit. So that came separate. I don't know where they started with the, historical commission, and, you know, at the beginning, surely they had some, the 119. Sorry.
419 right up where they sell the cracks where you go weekend on Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
it's
Well, they
the,
have a certificate of occupancy because that was part of the renovation permit that they did. Granted, that did pull started before me. But whether they followed the plan of what they were supposed to do, I'm assuming they came to the commission prior to starting construction.
They came to the commission for the COA, and we have been filed, but they didn't for the sign, if you're talking about the sign.
Right. So is the sign the only thing that's out of violation?
And
Okay, so they need a COA for that. And
I don't have time to come out here on a Sunday go to talk to them.
but they didn't file the permit on it either, as far as I know.
they don't have a
No, they cannot get a sign permit to the COA commission to approve of it.
Right.
We're basic, this is not difficult. She mentioned the drugstore. 0300 installed a air conditioning unit, done it before, we get the phone right now.
PJ.
It needs a screening, that's on the UDC. And I talked to Mike, let me work on something. I don't need to send him one. But should I not know Mike, then I would send him one. It's simple stuff.
Okay,
okay, but today what you want to vote on is just approving those as samples?
I don't believe anybody downloaded to read, so I'm going to table this for next month.
Okay,
Give these guys a chance. Pam, y'all have that?
I would do, in addition to, read, when you come to the letter to be approved, I would have your list for the commissioners to approve who you're going to be.
Right, so they can vote on the
What
individual.
else?
On your report, amendment of ordinances and establish a new policy manual of the Board of Commissioners. That's number 2.
Yeah, all it is if I can move forward. I don't have anything in writing. That's one of the things that was brought up in that online training we did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the secretary and in the state. Locally, we don't have a policy or bylaws. Bylaws beyond of the voting. Or
I
commission.
worked on bylaws
Yeah, I
a
remember that.
year ago and I sent them out, but they were never,
Can you send them to me?
yeah, I sent them to you. I have a set of bylaws,
I remember that.
but.
So you worked on them, but they've not been approved?
Well,
voted on?
I think we were gonna do something else. I can't remember what.
I didn't get a copy of those.
I'll send them to you. I got that, and maybe you can look at them and add or subtract, or, I don't know. But I'll let you look at them. I'll send them to you.
There's plenty out there online, Roxanne.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to get is from the commissioners, if they want to vote on it, sue it or scratch it up. Okay,
Okay.
on the number 2.
Well, I'll send everybody.
But it's beyond the bylaws, it's like a policy.
Okay.
Okay,
No, I just worked on bylaws. I didn't work on
okay.
any kind of policy manual.
So you want to vote on whether or not to start writing bylaws and policies?
What,
When you
Magdalene,
get into policy,
let me put it, when Magdalene met with us, January 28th, 2019 here, we all said here, it was specifically for the HPO. I learned a lot of stuff. You do the agenda, you do this, you do it. Like, oh, what did I get into? And one of the things that she said, that this town does not have some policy of the historic preservation. All we have is UDC and that's it. It's not enough to grab a hold of stuff and know what we're doing.
yeah,
Like design guidelines. Anybody and everybody can put on any kind of railing that they want, any type of fence. Okay, we have no clue what's a screen. The courthouse put German, nothing today, gingerbread, screening. That's for running on a no home, but they used it as screening, okay? They can do whatever they want, because we don't have any illustrations or guidelines for that. Okay?
well, why can't we use the historic from Austin, their book? You know,
That's Austin City, that would be Austin City, not the state. Let me give you another example. The railing that's at Uptown, the new railing that's at the bank, and the railing that's at Uptown, Red Bar, they're 3 different designs. We have no design for the city, what can go up and give them a variety of types, so they kind of all match. What's to stop anybody from putting a wood fence in the front that's railing here, a deck type, 2x2 wood balusters? We have no backbone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And typically with the cities too, they hire outside companies and pay $20,000, $30,000 to come out. I don't believe Blanco will ever have that budget. Okay? So all I can do is try to bring up some basics, something to grab a hold of, what fits Blanco.
Yeah.
Okay?
So what you're asking us, if we want you to come up with a
Move
policy,
forward, yes.
Design criteria.
Where are our design guideline book?
that's why I
I
don't
don't know
have that.
what is the design guideline? I don't know, I don't go in there, I don't have a keyboard.
We have a design guideline.
You need to bring it to us, because I have no idea what you're
You
talking
don't know
about.
what you're talking
We
about.
were here, you requested Magdalene to meet with me, because I didn't know anything, kind of stuff, okay, so she came. She said we didn't have a design guideline.
It was approved in 2010.
But it shows houses,
You take, when you do the COI, you take information out of that design guideline book all the time.
brother, that's the UDC,
No, it's a design guideline, it's a separate little.
but it does not tell you all the details of the handrail. Remember, you've been asking me, why don't you go tell them that handrail's wrong? Go tell them. I have no backbone to show an illustration about that. That's what I'm talking about.
Greta, is it publicly available? Are the design guidelines publicly available, or are they just in one of our little books?
Design guideline book in the city office.
I can look tomorrow.
I don't know where my art is because I couldn't find it today. But in there, you don't only just go by what's in the book, you also go by what was historically correct.
Okay, that's winging it right there when you say that was historically correct. You have to have something in writing, an illustration. I don't just come out of the blue and say, this is historically correct, do that. They're gonna come back at me and say, well, they didn't do that all the time. I hear that all the
I'm
time.
trying to buy a whole new thing when we already have something to work off of and maybe add to.
I didn't say starting over. I don't reinvent the wheel.
Well, let's find that, but you can add to
The
that.
city has them,
They
all
have
the
that.
vacant copies. It's not even, that survey you're talking about, that it's on about one, they went out to all the neighborhoods and talked about all the homes. It doesn't specifically hit the square. It's a white print, it's a photo, and I've never seen that. You tell me that that's over, you gave me a copy and I didn't see it.
Are any of our other commissioners, have you seen the guidelines? Have you gotten to look through them? Any idea?
No, I need a copy of them too. I mean, I don't have them, but I think that's, yeah, not recreate the wheel. And let's look at those and then we can see what we're missing and get with Hollis on the bylaws and the other things and add to it.
I'll check the
Yeah,
city.
no.
Okay, because I don't think we can take any action on this because we don't know.
Yeah, we can just table it until we can all review the design guidelines again and see if the paint is, if the brush stroke is too broad, as Rudy is saying, then we can take that as our pattern or as our model and then refine it to give us some clearer, patterns to move forward with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The design guidelines cost the city $25,000. Only we had a grant for that.
Okay, so we need to find that so we know what we have as our background.
We've been discussing this for, when I was a commissioner. And if it doesn't stop at a point, we're never gonna get there. When somebody always says, well, we have this, we have that, then bring it. Because when I've been told, uptown handrails are not the same as Redbud, as the Texas, and for me to go out there and tell them what to do, when I have no backbone, to tell them, here's the precedent, right here, you should do it like this.
So are we gonna, is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna go tell everybody that you're gonna
I
have
don't
to
do that.
change all
I
this
told
stuff?
them I should go do it, I won't do that. Because I don't, there's no book that shows what exactly goes into blank.
Well, how can we do that? How can we
That's why.
create a book and then go make them change it?
I don't know if you can make them change it.
You can do it.
Does it matter that they're different? I mean, does it
Yeah.
matter?
But that,
Can't they have differences?
but if you have a choice, well, 3 or 4 different designs, not everybody looks monolithically the same.
Why do they have to be?
Yeah, why should they be? Then it won't look like Blanco. They should have a choice. But again, because I've been asked, go do this, go do that, okay? Then I feel like I'm a failure. And I don't have a backbone. But in a way, they tell me that, it's a good thought to look into. Anybody in this town, let's say barbecue place, I'm sorry, the pizza place, he could decide to stop this alley here and put a residential fence with them. Like what they have at Uptown at the corner. So there has to be a guideline. We do not have the correct guidelines. Design is, the looks.
Well, we need to find that book, Retta, so we see what.
That's exactly right.
It's about this thick, right?
No, it's
Then Olga gave you the
You
wrong.
use it all the time, Rudy. You
Yeah, I
use
know.
it for your COA.
But it's not in there. I'm telling you, Collins, I believe me, it's not in there, okay?
Why?
If you asked me to go do it, it's not in there. So-
Okay, we're gonna move on. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're not gonna resolve this. We need to find the book.
For the bank.
Good idea.
Cover everything they can do from then on. That was up to that point. They went in and they did this with no additional COA asking to put that fence up there. They had to have another COA. And that's what a lot of them are doing. They're adding to what, like they did on the sign over here. Once they go to COA, that's like the bank, they need to understand if you're going to do anything else, you have to have another COA. They did not do that.
So the COA that the bank had did not cover everything that they did.
Only what,
Is that what you're telling me?
only at the point when they did redid the building. That's the only covered what was in those plans, not the fence. They separated, had to call for another COA. And they didn't do it. But let me tell you, the breeders did the same thing, but the breeders came back in and they did what was historically correct. The pipe is historically correct. It's what was around the courthouse all of our lives. It was a pipe.
See, that, what you just saying, Ms. Hollis, that design should be printed and say, here's this. But then you should give them a choice.
Well, let's look at the design guidelines.
It's not, it doesn't specify that. Look, I'm into details all the time, because I've been doing this for 45 years. And when it's not there, and you want me to build your house and it's not there, I'm not gonna do it. That's what happens here.
Okay.
If it's not there, it's not there, you're not gonna get it.
Well, why, when they do a COA, why, like the bank, why do they list everything that they were gonna do? Why do they have to keep going back and getting new COAs? That's what I don't
They
understand.
decided on that fence later because they decided it was dangerous without it. So they added them later, which they took another COA and they didn't come for it. Apparently, I wasn't here, they didn't come for it.
So what we do at that point, would you just state if we go back and send them a letter, not necessarily an enforcement, telling them they need a COA.
Which letter, what fence are y'all talking?
Right here.
No, which letter, which fence you talking?
Yeah, what fence are y'all
At the
talking?
bank, at the,
That black
Rating,
one,
black
one in front of the bank. They put a
Well,
black-
that handicap
Wrought
one?
iron fence. We're
It's
talking-
it's level. One in the back, one in the front.
I need to go by there, I never even noticed that.
Yeah, it's like the one Renee has.
But different.
I'm going to put, because I know this is going on too long, let me tell you what I do with Renee though, that, they argued with his, Texas owns that over there, and they argued to put that pipe, Texas wanted the pipe, and Renee got her right, and got it, black one fixed. But that is not what they would do. That is not what they
You
do.
see that conflict there? They didn't do, and then I'll hear that. Why are they doing it? So it makes it harder to do my job. I'm sure they will too, on the line.
Even if it's-
If it's not in writing, it's hard to enforce it. Let's go ahead and move.
All right, item 3.
Skip that one.
Okay.
Let's keep moving.
Okay, so can we go back to the beginning of,
Just table that one.
all right, so we'll table item 3.
Yeah.
So back to our agenda, is this everything that we need to vote on? Done? We've still got our new business, and I think that's all updates, right? Because we have Retta's review.
Yeah.
And we have-
Voting, right?
Okay, well, I'm just asking so that if anybody that is online needs to go.
Pam, that was me.
Yes, I have a 7 o'clock meeting in Johnson City.
Okay,
So are we good for as far as the forum's concerned?
do we need a quorum for anything else?
To motion to adjourn.
Well, okay,
So you want to do that and go into the, let's do that.
you can motion to adjourn from regular meeting and enter a workshop.
okay. Would somebody can I make that motion? Can it be me?
I make a motion to adjourn and enter
Adjourn from
into
regular meeting.
a motion
I
to,
second it.
from our regular meeting.
Who, neighbors?
Yes, I second it. to
Okay.
adjourn the regular meeting.
For the solution.
All right. Vote to adjourn the regular meeting and move to conference. All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so, Mr. Gusnell, you have a night skies update for us? Good.
Yes. Commissioners, my name is Wayne Johnson, and I'm first before you tonight, both as the night sky advisor to the Blanco Historic Preservation Commission and as the president of the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky. What I'd like to do is give you a brief update on what the status of night sky preservation in and around Blanco County and the Hill Country in general. The Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky formed about 2 years ago. We now have 106 members with 68 paid memberships. That's because we charge $20 per household for our members. That's a lot of members for a little organization. Our website gets over 900 unique visitors a year. So if you're hunting for a source of information about night sky preservation, light pollution abatement, our website is a place to start. 900 visitors a month. We have a Facebook page with 315 members. We send out a monthly newsletter to 319 individuals in Blanco County and around the state. We've been working with the Hill Country Alliance to proliferate these night sky advocacy groups. We now have 8 such groups, just like the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky. We have 6 others that have been started in all around Hill Country: Travis County, Hayes County, Claremont County, Kendall County, Kerr County. We're working on, well, I won't name them all, but we're working on the rest of the total of 15 Hill Country counties. Plus, we're working independently with a group out in West Texas to start the West Texas Friends of the Night Sky. Bottom line, it's become a movement. People are recognizing that preservation of the night sky, to restore the night sky to its historic levels of darkness, is a preservation issue. The night sky is a resource, just like our hills and our streams and everything else that we're proud about here in the Texas Hill Country. And we have a lot of people working to do that. Let me give you a quick update on the status of Blanco's application to become an international dark sky community. We started this, oh my gosh, we've been working on it for about 4 years. We submitted it last year. It flew through because we had a lot of good support from the Blanco City Council and a lot of other people. They helped us put the application together. We got about 6 months ago, we got word that everything is good. They're about to approve it, except for one thing. They need a plan from the city of Blanco to bring all of our streetlights into compliance with our own outdoor lighting ordinance. 95% within 5 years and 100% within 10 years. Sounds pretty easy. So we had put together 3 teams of volunteers. We went out and we inventoried every streetlight in Blanco. PEC said we had 101 streetlights. We found 91 of them, but we also found 10 locations where PEC said we had streetlights. There was no streetlight there. We also found a lot of streetlights that PEC has no record of, at least no record that they're charging the city yet. So, so we're trying to, okay, the question then is how many of those streetlights comply with Blanco's outdoor lighting ordinance, which is full cutoff, no lights above the, can shine above the horizon, and Kelvin temperature, color temperature of 2,000 degrees Kelvin or less. Well, PEC can't tell us. They don't have that data. So we went out and we identified all of those streetlights by whatever we could, looking at physically identifying them. And we took them to PEC and said, give me the stats on this. PEC can't do it. They can do it on two of the 10 kinds of streetlights that we have here in the city. I've been working with Martin Salceda, Mayor Pro Tem, who of course works at PEC. Martin can't get the data either. So the question is, we're probably going to have to conclude that Blanco has no streetlights that comply with that. We're trying to find a way to measure the Kelvin temperature of that. So we have to figure out how we can do that. The city does not have the money to replace 91 streetlights. We're working with the Hill Country Alliance to try to get some grant money to help us do that. And this covers, of course, the whole city, but the core of the city, of course, is the historic district. This international dark sky community, we would be the fifth one in Texas if we finally get approved. The others are the Dripping Springs, Wimberley, Horseshoe Bay, Fredericksburg got it about 3 months ago. We would be the city number 5. The Enchanted Rock State Natural Area has been designated as an international dark sky park. We're working on a LBJ National Historic Park. We're working with them to get them also designated as an international dark sky park. We're working on a Hill Country Dark Sky Reserve that is going to be a big triangle from Fredericksburg to Mason to Llano. So it has a lot of potential. We're working also with some people out of West Texas on the Big Bend International Dark Sky Reserve. It's going to be the largest in the world if we can pull it off. Back to Blanco, an issue is the HOT funds, the hotel occupancy tax funds for night sky preservation. We went in the last legislature, we got a bracketed bill in the legislature that gives us the authority to use a portion of Blanco's HOT funds for night sky preservation. And we're applying that through the Chamber of Commerce to the Blanco's hotels and motels. You look up at the Swiss Lodge, the Swiss Lodge, and take a look at all of their outdoor lights. We replaced all of those lights, bought them 29 new lights. The deal is we'll pay for those out of hot money. They do the mounting and they do the maintenance there from then on out. We've done a formal evaluation at the Blanco County Inn, do the same thing with all of their outdoor lights, and we're waiting right now to identify what we need to buy to correct that. The next big one, of course, is Best Western, and that's going to take a lot of work, but that's on our list. And I want to cover real quick House Bill 2439. This is good news and bad news. In the last legislature, the legislature passed House Bill 2439 that prohibits municipalities from prohibiting building materials if those building materials have been approved by a national association, National Builders Association, the plumbers, whatever it is. Inadvertently, because they wanted to prevent cities from saying you can't use stucco in your buildings, or you can't use this kind of a fence. You can't do that anymore. That bill eliminated that. It also inadvertently said that cities can no longer enforce their outdoor lighting ordinances. There are some exceptions that they made for that. One was if the city is already an international dark sky community, then that doesn't apply. They can enforce that outdoor lighting ordinance, but no other city can. Well, an outdoor lighting ordinance enforceable is a requirement to become an international dark sky community. So it's a catch-22. We're working with the Hill Country Alliance. We'll be working with the upcoming legislature to get that reversed. For Blanco, there is an exception that is directly pertinent to this committee, and that is, as a certified local government, Blanco can still regulate outdoor lighting in its historic district. Outside the historic district, until we get it changed at the legislature, we can have an ordinance, but it just can't be enforced. But we can enforce it in the historic district. And the last thing I want to say is that October is the Hill Country Night Sky Month, and we're going to have a booth, information booth, and some telescopes and a little star party, if you would, in the daytime out here on Blanco Square on October 17th. If you would like to become a member of Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky, do a card, sign up, $20 a year, well worth it. We have questions.
That's welcome. Thank you, sir. So street lights in Blanco, is that in residential or main street?
Talk about the street lights?
Yeah.
They're all over the city.
And do they face their historic windows too, or just regular lights?
No, the outdoor lighting ordinance doesn't address historic, like, it doesn't require the lights have any particular thing other than they cannot shine off property, and they have to have a Kelvin temperature of 2,000 degrees or less, preferably 2,700. It really upsets me. I got to find out this, because for the last 2 years, PEC should have been installing those kind of lights. Apparently they haven't, because we can't find any that comply. My question is, why haven't they?
One second question. On the design guidelines that I'm talking about, and extend it rather than what's vague. You handed out a page before, and a lot of cities have several pages or at least one master list of all the different fixtures that can be approved. Could you provide that for us? So we can adopt that, you have to do it to us in the past.
That's what the House bill he was talking about,
You
you
can't
can't do. The city cannot act like an
For the
HOA.
district?
Right.
That's the bottom line. The city can't act like an HOA. You can't tell them what they can and can't do about anything, construction material, that but you can, all you can do is put regulations on how bright they are. So,
So the
which
bulb,
direction they kind of, I'm oversimplifying it.
okay,
You can say that they can't shine directly up, and they can't shine on your neighbor's property. But that's about all you can do.
That's in the historic district,
That's period.
That's true.
Period.
Citywide.
citywide.
Now, if the historic district, because it is a historic district, can put requirements over and above that.
But only for the district.
Only applicable to the historic district.
So we cannot say, here's a design, a style of 100, pick one. You cannot do that.
If you adopt design guidelines like Britt is talking about for the historic district, yeah, you can do that.
You can, that was the answer I was looking for. So if that's correct, can you supply the fixtures in the photos so we can adopt that into the BDC?
Boy,
Because you had one at one time. It was like an 8x11. It had a bunch of lights there.
no, then you're talking
Yeah,
about
illustration.
better lights for better nights. And it was an illustration of good lights and bad lights, generic lights. What is the bad lights, what is typical out there, wall pack lights that shine out like that. Opposite over here was a good wall pack light, it had a shield on it to keep the lights shining. That's what you're talking about.
Let me give you an example. Like, we've done a lot of King Williams in San Antonio, but it's an old historic district, used to be called Sauerkraut. There was nothing but junk. When you, and the city mandates it, when you put a standing seam roof at the very peak, you fold it over. You cannot put a ridge cap. That's modern. They allow that to happen, so that's basically what you're looking at, like, say, well, bend it over at the top, then put a ridge cap. That's simple. But when you show them in writing, and the city provides that, then the layperson can say, I'll do that to my roof.
But that's establishing design criteria.
Design, yes.
That's not establishing what kind or what color or brand.
The design that I'm looking for.
Design criteria did not come up with brands, so.
No, what brands, you're not talking about brands, you don't get brands. Just the look of design.
Well, you know, your example that you gave, the one that is on the Ray Vincent's parking lot over here.
Oh.
Perfect, perfect. But from an outdoor lighting standpoint, if the Texas Regional Bank had put in parking lot lights here, like they did in their new facility in Griffin Springs, it'd be just fine. Now, whether they meet the aesthetic requirements of the historic district is a totally different issue. But from a nice guy perspective, if they did what they did in Griffin Springs, it'd be just fine.
so are they too bright? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I can't have any way, there's no restrictions on brightness. There's restrictions on the Kelvin temperature of the lights. If the light has this kind of high Kelvin temperature, that it has a lot of blue light in it, then that's above 3,000 degrees Kelvin. And we don't allow that. And the reason we don't allow that is the American Medical Association has said that Kelvin temperature is above 2,000 degrees, inhibits the body's ability to produce melatonin at night, which hurts the body in, melatonin helps the body fight cancer, particularly in women, particularly breast cancer. And that is the standard that is being adopted all across the country. 3,000 degree skeleton. We recommend a coating temperature of 2,700, a nice soft yellow or orangey kind of a glow. So it looks to me like, because I don't have any make the instrument to measure that costs about $1,000. We don't have it. But it looks to me like it's about like this skeleton temperature. The big thing is it shines off the property. What they could easily do is go in there and put a little 4-inch baffle around each of those lights, and that would solve most of the problem.
Wayne, can I add something here? Remember what you brought to us, because we made a choice of the historic district, okay? And we didn't get it in, or Martha didn't let us get wiring in to where it could be electrical. And you brought us one that had the,
Solar.
solar power. So that's what we were going to use. We have a picture of it back there tonight. I'll have to find it. But it's this type. So that's okay. What you brought.
Well, if the city requires that particular feature, type fixture, now you get to, like what we're saying, you get to a tough legal, you can't be, that's a good one, you can't be at your way. For the city, you can say, we want lights of this general character, this general design, to fit into subjectively this general historic criteria, such as, you can give examples, such as the lights that Renee has to figure, or other lights that you want to do. When you come to say, you gotta buy this fixture from this company, I don't think you did it.
You can't go with the brand name on. You
No,
can't-
gotta be there.
You couldn't say that we recommend, you couldn't say you can't say I recommend GE part number 936.
It's a style.
The style goes back into design criteria. Design criteria is there's two different things. There's specifications and there's design criteria. Design criteria is very vague yet somewhat descriptive. The specifications are specific things. That's what we have to stay away from. The design criteria you can do with that. You allow a lot of gray area in design criteria.
When you have a design guidelines and standards in the historic district, that's what we do. In the town, they can choose. But in the historic district, that decision is made, and that's what.
So to an extent, yes.
Yeah, because it's not, it's a standard in the district. Outside the district, it's a guideline.
We get you, well, I remember when that law was getting established about a year ago, correct?
So last September, wasn't it? September last year?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
we talked about that. Yeah, it was-
The last-
Well, it's not up on us.
The last legislative session was the 2019. The next one will
That's what I
be
mean.
21, yeah.
September of 2019 last year.
Well, the legislative session ended in the very end of May, but I don't know when it was signed by the governor.
Oh, and it goes into effect. Normally it makes a lot of them.
Oh, yeah, when they go into effect. Yeah. Okay,
We enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Keep coming back with new stuff.
Okay.
It's hard to get with you on this because we were something you don't have that money for in your 50 years.
Get on that.
Okay, so Retta Martin was going to review the Blanco Historic Preservation Action Plan.
The reason I asked for that to be put on the agenda is because that one thing, you can have one entry there and it covers what he was gonna do, it covers what Wayne did, and it covers what on the streetscape or whatever, because that's all in the action plan, and that's why I didn't put the action plan on there, rather than identifying them different. But I'm glad it's on there, I didn't even see it, I didn't know when I was here that it was even on there, because it doesn't cover, it hasn't covered the gateways, and you're not gonna give any more report on that on gateways.
We're working on it.
Not till we get more money. Not till he gets more money.
Well,
Did you have a specific
what do you
question?
mean? Okay, we have, as far as locations and things like that.
The only location that I have is the one Smitty has agreed to.
Mhm.
The one over here is in the right in the, utility easement, both of the LCRA and the PEC, and that's not gonna fly.
So who said that?
I'm sorry?
Did you say it up here at the Petersons?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a PDC and LCRA easement.
They say no.
They don't know.
Yeah.
The little part is personally owned by somebody else that wants it.
Yes.
It's partially owned by someone else, but they have utility easement, the LCRA is huge.
The utility easement is still owned and controlled
So these are
by,
all of it.
they have an easement there, the LCRA and NPC say it's
Check it out.
But I do know, I did not know there was an easement there, but I do know that if it's needed by PEC,
Owner would like to have it.
yeah,
Okay, but you want me to tell you can't.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's that's
Should I
PEC.
tell Richard that he can have it there? Richard,
He knows that. He knows he can't have it
I
there.
mean, Charles,
the new owner,
What's his name, Rheta? You want to talk about Richard?
no, Charles,
Thompson, he's a new person here that bought Petersons and he wanted to have.
He's working on that committee.
she's talking about Charles.
Charles, I'm sorry, I said Richard.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah, you told me Richard did.
I'm sorry.
It's Charles.
It's Charles.
Did you, and you talked to
But-
him, no,
I haven't talked to him, no.
and he's still very interested because he doesn't know that it's a no-no, and I didn't either. That it's impossible to do it.
Yeah, it's impossible if they're not
Okay.
PEC and LCRA.
The whole diamond is taken.
Not the whole time,
Put it.
but he doesn't want to put it anywhere else because they use it for parking. He wants it right in that point. And that's where we can't do it.
That's fenced in there.
Yeah.
Diamond is fenced in. Let me just.
So Smitty Smith has agreed, is happy to let us do it, but unfortunately, the property that he used to own, which was really the visible part, has now been sold to Renee. And I think we ought to talk to Renee and see if she would let us do it, because it'll be, otherwise it's gonna be between a couple of trees. And it'll probably work, but it would be so much better if it were just a few feet further west.
Well, if you get,
I don't know, I
Ms.
can't-
Benson, I'm sorry, Ms. Benson will let you do it, that gets you much closer to the literal city limits side.
That's right.
City limits, yeah.
That's right.
I don't know why it's so difficult for other cities to get theirs up, and we cannot, why it's so difficult for Blanco to be able to fund things.
Because you have to find basically private property to put it on,
It's so, yeah,
because the highway department will not let you.
Oh, another-
you know, my forte is building.
We can go back to Jason. Jason wanted to help us. Jason, did you ever talk to Jason Miller?
No.
Did you know that?
Now, if someone else would like to talk to him, that'd be great.
But he wanted to help, he wanted to do it. He
I'll
said,
talk
"We
with-
found a land."
Tell me what to do.
But where would he put it at?
I don't know. Let him figure it out.
Richard appointed me to go talk to Jason Williams.
As long as it's what we approve, you know. We'll talk to him again.
Hopefully we'll have two painted, you know, first Andrew Manning is gonna come back to us with a design. You know, but roughly, I've sent in the, images that you sent me. But he'll give us a design and tell us the colors and stuff, then we get to him feedback for revisions of what we'd like.
Yeah.
You know, we'd like to tweak this, we'd like to do that.
Well, Jason is like, you know,
And then Andrew,
he should give us land, and he would have to have time to look at it and say, yeah, or, you know, maybe tweak it or whatever, but.
well, there won't be any tweaking.
There won't be.
Well, not for the painted part. Now, the mounting of the sign, now that's up to Prince. We have to take it.
Well, I'll talk to Jason again about it and see if he's still in, or you can.
No, I don't.
You don't want
He
to.
he delegated.
This has
me to
been
go
going
do
on
it.
for years.
No, I'm not gonna talk.
Who do you want me to go to? Retta, or me?
White Spark wasn't in this, action plan too. It's, we had a street lamp program, they did key street lamp programs in the Keep Line Go Beautiful, and we had the money and everything that we were gonna do the lights on this. And so if what Wayne has brought us with the solar part will work, we want to try to go ahead and try to get this north side. There are 3 or 4. There's a light on the corner of 281.
Right.
So if we come down for the 2 buildings going, with, Redwood, that'd be the first
Sparkling
one,
water
and the Redwood would
with
be the
caffeine.
second one on the corner.
And flavor.
And we like to see that done, so we want to start.
Yeah, we need some more lights around this, where it's too dark.
You
When
did,
people-
also, so.
It's dark around there.
I know Annie Walker said it's scary.
It is, because I almost hit a little girl crossing the street one night,
When was this, Hollis?
right over here between Redwood on Saturday night, when people were just crossing the street. You can't see at
It's a
night.
double lane, and people.
Yeah, you cannot see. And then, those ladies got ran over on 281, remember that Christmas? You know, that's why
One to kill.
the night side, you know, it kind of scares me because,
But we can start over there, at least we can get one side done. It will never be on the courthouse part, it will be on the outside. And as we, we're in, it's time to resurrect the streetscape plan and get it going again. We let it stop, Bruce stopped it. And he said that he left, me as advisors on that because we headed them up. So it's time to resurrect that and get it started, because this has to have a plan and get done, and then we'll put lights here. And that doesn't need that much right here, and we'll put lights there. But Keep Line Go Beautiful had a big fundraiser 14 years ago this month. And we collected $5,000, we've been sitting on it. And Judy and I are the only 2 left on that RBB that started with it, and so we want to see this happen before we're gone.
did you have any lights on the courthouse ground?
No, they have theirs over there. They have 2.
Yeah, they did. They had it.
And so it'd be on the outside. Renee wouldn't get it because there's no place, but these 3 sides would get it, and we'll start over here.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I've seen those pictures.
I'll get started on that. Yeah, we got the picture back there, and I'll find it, so you can see it.
They're not,
Let's see, okay, we have the gateways, and we have the lights, and we have streetscape, and all these things, this book. Roxanne saw it today. This is the action plan. You asked me about the action plan. Okay.
No, I didn't ask for an action plan, it's a design guideline plan.
Well, okay, but you remember this.
Yeah, but it doesn't- it's very,
So everything in here, what we need to do is we need to start we need to update the action plan.
can I see one more time, last year, please?
Update the,
I have that.
comprehensive master plan. Find out what's been done, what's it all, put goals on it, short-term, long-term, and middle-term goals to get it finished and add to it. And we have another big deal to get more goals. But y'all have some new goals.
we're just trying to get some of our stuff.
Something in here too is a hiking trail. When in 2000, it was I think about 2000, not 1980s, so we had the Citizens Assembly for the county. And that was a whole county that came together for months and said, this is what we want, hiking trail, it's really important. Johnson City got there, didn't like what they did.
Where would they be?
Well, we need to do it. We need to.
But where would you put a hiking trail around here?
I gotta go.
I don't know
Well,
if they
why
came
don't you
to
make
the plan
some
at that
difference?
time, but you can find if they did. Christine,
Red, I gotta go, he wants to make schnitzels, and it takes a long time to cook. I'm not supposed to be at the sound stuff, but we have been on my meeting, I don't know what.
I'll get on that. Christine is on the PUC, she's been involved in.
Thank you.
Country out, they have 5 groups, yeah, that come in and spend the night and then walk.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
So they could walk to Twin Sisters, they could walk to the brewery and all that kind of stuff.
Be us. That would be
We
the
need to get a
store.
brochure done.
Okay, that's.
I still
I
have.
did talk to Jonelle about that brochure, and she said that she had talked to Marcy. Do you know Marcy?
Yes.
Okay, and she said that she was gonna get with her within the next couple of weeks to finalize everything on there, and then it would be, she would print it.
Okay.
So
The
that's.
reason I brought it up is in this action plan.
Yeah.
Trails.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
That's
okay.
all I do for tonight in the action plan.
Okay.
And I think that another thing we might do too, on all this stuff we've been talking about, we have a tour and assessment plan for the historic commission, that we take a tour on all the property and we mark things that need to be done. And that's what we need again. And it's got a procedure to it.
Okay.
And is the procedure in the book?
No, the procedure's not in the book, it's in the follow.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have a key to this storeroom that's got everything?
Yes.
Okay, one day I'd like to just come look and see what we've got,
Okay.
you know, because I have no clue what's in there.
Well, and right now it's, some of it is organized, right? Retta was showing me today,
Okay.
but there's, everything's in there as far as, you know.
Oh, yes.
Your stuff in the storeroom, like everything, 'cause
Everything is stacked on the floor because I can't even got my shelves. Everything's messed up really bad. Richard said he might would do shelves and Rudy told me he would do shelves, but they're all stacked on the stairs, the chairs and everything. And I was trying to help her. We need to get things so we can find things.
well, we need to buy some shelving. Can we buy some shelving with our money to do that? But doesn't have to-
We'll have to wait till next year.
I have to wait till the new budget.
We don't have to be even for
They
the
use
next
it, they
days.
use it,
Yeah, we used it on our
Okay,
site.
well, we need to buy, you know, I had to, and they were real good starting to do the shelves, but I need to get them more soon.
Well, maybe actually, I need to just build.
We can get IKEA or Home Depot has shelving units.
They were big, they were 5 high and,
Yeah,
I don't think we would have to spend that much.
yeah, I don't think we would spend that. Yeah, we just need to get it organized and if it's.
yeah, if we can, I will be happy to, I'd love to help Roxanne to learn this and go through it and find things.
She has a lot of knowledge. So she would be very beneficial.
Yeah, we've all been very active for a long time, so.
Me.
Thank you, for the offer to help. So we'll try to find shelves and get in there and try to organize. So if anybody has any,
I wrote down what size of the shelves that were in there.
you have the measurements.
You want to measure, Richard, I don't mind, the door's unlocked.
He says he has it already.
I wrote down the dimensions of your shelf.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Anything else?
Not for me.
Okay.
We
So
don't have to adjourn.
I think we already adjourned.
well, then I have one thing still.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes,
I
you
just
are.
need a determination, an emphatic determination on 307 4th Street, which is Texas Cannon Brewing. Are they or are they not in the historical district?
Who is that?
Texas Cannon Brewing,
It's right across the street from the,
Oh, that new one?
The new one.
They're not.
just next to the hat shop.
No,
So on
they're
the
not.
map,
Not in the district.
okay, so on the map, that last building where the line is the hat shop, not them.
Yeah, there's a dotted line
It runs in between.
that goes in because, yes, it's
Okay.
not that hurts.
Just want to make sure, so I can get in this permit for signage and stuff, because if they,
That's another thing that, in the ordinance itself, one of the main things that we need to do, and Hollis has worked on this, is we need to expand our district.
We have, that's almost impossible to do.
She worked on, it's a lot of work.
It's almost impossible because nobody wants to
But we
agree
need to
to
enlarge our.
get in the historic district. You know?
We'll put that down as a task for the future.
All right.
Anybody else?
We already, we already.
I'm just excited to tell you this, if we can do on Monday.